These days, many people are having physical as well as mental difficulties. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how to deal with physical and mental difficulties. And there are kind of three meditations, Tibetan meditations, that that really can be helpful when we face difficulties. So the first method is called reverse meditation, and in life we cannot help but experience difficulties and adversity. It has to be expected. It's completely a natural part of life. 이렇게 살다 보면 이렇게 좋은 일도 생기고 안 좋은 일도 생기고 어쨌든 어려움은 피할 수 없어요. So it's something that cannot be avoided. Having difficulties in life, that's just part of life. It's just that's how life is. That's the nature of life. So when we face difficulties, the first meditation is called reverse meditation. This meditation deals with our attitude, because attitude changes everything. You know that? It changes the hell into heaven. I saw the documentary, and this person was in prison, and this is a show about how people are sent to prison on falsely accused. 어떤 한 분이 이제 그 자기가 이렇게 잘못을 하지 않았는데 감옥으로 갔기 때문에 이제 굉장히 억울하고 엄청나게 이렇게 막 지옥 같은 처음에는 그런 경험을 하다가 이제 자기 태도를 바꾼 거예요. 그래서 이제 거기서 이제 생활이 굉장히 그 여러 가지 배우고 이로운 생활이 되었던 거예요. 그래서 감옥이었지만 자기한테는 엄청나게 이렇게 이로운 그런 이제 시간을 가진 거예요. 이렇게 성장하고 더 훌륭한 사람이 되고 뭐 이런 감옥이었는데, so this person who was accused falsely and then he was in jail. Can you imagine? I mean, what that would be like? You didn't do anything wrong, but then you're in prison. I mean, it was hell for him for the first, I don't know how long, and he was in hell. Anybody would be in his position, right? And then he heard a talk by a pastor who came to the prison, and he changed his attitude about being there. And so during that time, he was there for a few years. That time in prison became very fruitful, very productive, and he learned so many things, and he became a better person, a stronger person. And so that was because of his attitude. So attitude changes everything. Sometimes we will face adversities, but if we have a good attitude toward the circumstance, then the circumstance can become very, very beneficial to us. 그러니까 상황보다 이 태도가 중요한 거예요. 그래서 상황은 뭐 어떤 상황이 있을지 알 수 없지만, 근데 태도는 자기가 결정할 수 있고, 이제 좋게 볼 수 있다면 상황을, 그럼 이제 그 상황이 굉장히 이로운 상황이 될 수가 있다는 거예요. In life, actually, the best situations are the difficulties. They are the most beneficial if we can face them with a proper attitude. So conversely, it is the good things, in life that is not so good for us. For example, like wealth or fame or the things that we want. These things actually are not very good for human beings, because human beings cannot handle fame and money and things like this. It spoils them. It spoils us. But human beings, on the other hand, can handle adversity much better. And through adversity, human beings become better human beings. And also they gain greater inner strength. So adversity is not a bad thing. Adversity is a good thing. Really, if you look at it. And also the good thing is not a good thing, actually. So there was a great Zen master, Sung San. He said, good thing is a bad thing is a good thing. A good situation is a bad situation. Bad situation is a good situation. So what that means is the bad situation makes us better human beings. It makes us stronger. It makes us more human and more kind, more gentle, more well-rounded. And these are the conditions for genuine happiness, actually. So adversity is not a bad thing. Adversity is a good thing. So we have to see it like that. That is the reverse meditation. 역경이 사실은 우리에게 좋은 거예요. 승산 스님이 좋은 게 좋은 게 나쁜 거고 나쁜 게 좋은 거라고 이렇게 말씀하셨거든요. 좋은 상황이 안 좋은 상황이고 안 좋은 상황이 좋은 상황이라고 이렇게 말씀하셨어요. 그러니까 안 좋은 상황이 인간에게 이롭다는 거예요. 그것을 잘 받아들일 수 있다면. 근데 좋은 상황은 오히려 인간을 이렇게 뭐라고 하지, 타락하게 하고 막 게을르게 하고 오만하게 하고 이렇게 사람을 버립니다. 이렇게. 그러니까 이렇게 감당을 못 해요, 사람들이. 돈도 그렇고 명예도 그렇고 명성도 그렇고. 근데 이제 역경은 오히려 사람들이 잘 감당할 수 있어요, 보통. 그것이 더 이롭다는 거예요. The reverse meditation deals with seeing the whatever unwanted situation, whatever is unwanted, wanted. That's reverse meditation. Whatever we normally don't like, try to see it in a positive way. Try to see it as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to practice to do spiritual practice. And so that's the reverse meditation. So anytime anything unwanted happens in our life, to our body, normally if we have pain in our body, we panic, we become crazy, we become like, oh no. It's like but at that moment, if we can try to see that in a positive light, to bring the pain or transform the pain into wisdom and compassion, in which we can see it as an opportunity, then that kind of resistance to the pain is gone, and the pain is much more handleable. You can handle it, so you can deal with it. 이 역행명상이라고 하는 것은 모든 원치 않는 것을 원하는 거예요. 그러니까 모든 원치 않거나 아니면 안 좋은 상황을 좋게 보고 그것을 이제 기회로 삼고, 그 나쁜 상황이라고 해서 꼭 나쁘게 볼 필요는 없거든요. 나쁜 상황도 좋게 볼 수 있어요, 사실은. Okay. So just because it's something unwanted, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to see it in a negative light. You can have a positive light. You can look at pain in a positive light. See it as an opportunity. So this meditation has helped me so many times. Whenever there's a unwanted situation, normally it is the resistance that makes the unwanted situation very, very difficult. So if you can see whatever unwanted in a positive light, like see it as an opportunity, or then the resistance is gone, and so it's not so bad anymore. 안 좋은 상황을 이렇게 견딜 수 없게 하는 것은 그 안 좋은 상황을 정황하기 때문에, 이렇게 정황하지 않으면 그런 감당하기가 어렵지 않고, 그래서 저는 이 역행명상을 수없이 연습을 했거든요. 안 좋은 상황이 있을 때마다 이제 이걸 좋게 보는 거예요. 좋게 볼 수 있다는 거예요. 그럼 이제 그게 저항이 없어지고, 그럼 이제 저항만 없어도 진짜 견딜만 하거든요. 그래서 there's a saying, if you resist, it persists. So if you don't resist, then the suffering is the span of suffering becomes much shorter. Because when you resist, then it persists, it lasts longer. And then if you accept, then the suffering doesn't last as long. It's like impermanent. You can allow the kind of impermanent nature of whatever suffering or unwanted circumstance. Give me an example of something that you have experienced, adversity or something that you don't want. Okay, so diarrhea, like 2 weeks or whatever, and I also experienced that. So this is a very difficult situation, right? To have toothache. I mean, we've all had toothaches, right? So there's nothing worse than toothaches. I've never had migraines, but I mean, I can imagine what it's like. It's like, I mean, just when you have a migraine. How many of you had migraines before? Nobody? Yeah. This is a very healthy group. No one's had ever a migraine ever? Okay. 마이그레인 우리말로 뭐라고 해요? 편두통. 편두통 없으세요? 있은 적이 없어요? 아무도? 와우. 있은 적이 있잖아요. 그러니까 있은 적이 있었잖아요. So during this time, it's very difficult to kind of use this extreme pain to use it as support for practice, to transform it to wisdom and compassion. Unless you have a very high level of meditation practice, or you have, otherwise it's very difficult. So 극심한 통증이 있을 때는 그냥 수행으로 삼기 어려워요. 왜냐 안 그러면 수행력이 굉장히 깊으면 모르지만 저의 수행력으로서는 이제 그런 신경 통증을 감당하기 어려웠어요. 그냥 기다리기만 했고 없기를 바라기만 했고 그래서 그런 경우에는 좀 so extreme situations like this it's difficult to transform it into practice. But smaller pains or things like let's say diarrhea or these kind of situations, we can see that we can use them for support for our spiritual practice. And so maybe we'll take the case of the diarrhea, okay? Because this pain is a little bit difficult unless it's mild. If it's mild, then it's okay. You can do that. You can try to. There's two things you can do. One is to use it for support for wisdom, and one for support for compassion. So compassion is like to understand when you have the suffering that I am not the only one suffering, right? Like for example, this kind of pain in the in nerves in your mouth. So this pain, so many people suffer. So many people suffer from physical pain, whether it's nerve pain or back pain, or so many people. So many people live with pain and live with migraines and things like this, right? I don't know how many of you currently suffer from some kind of physical pain, whether it's acute or whether it's mild. When you have pain, normally you think only about your pain, and the pain seems so big. But then you think, oh, how many people on this earth are suffering from physical pain like me right now? How many people? What do you think? So many people, countless people. And how many people suffer more than me? Their suffering is greater than mine. How many people? So many people, right? So this expands our 규모, our now I'm forgetting English. So anyway, it expands your perspective. It expands your. It makes your perspective much bigger. So basically, you're not only thinking of yourself. You're thinking of the countless beings, not only humans, but animals and so many people that are suffering physical suffering right now, unbearable physical suffering. And then you think to yourself, I don't like this suffering, so they must also not like their suffering. So through your pain, you can connect with countless beings' pain and suffering. And when you have pain, it's easy to have compassion because you suffer. So you know what suffering is. So it's easy to connect with other people's suffering. And then you wish, oh, I hope they are free from their suffering. Just like I don't want to suffer, I hope that all beings who suffer, they become free from their suffering. You make this kind of wish, and this wish is compassion. And when you have compassion, you have, in that instance of compassion, you also have inner strength, you also have peace. So, and then your suffering becomes much smaller. And compared to the countless beings, great suffering, so much suffering by countless beings, your suffering doesn't seem so big anymore. And it's manageable. And then there's another level, and you wish that all of beings suffering like come to you, come into your, like for example, you have this toothache, right, or the nerve pain. You wish that all the beings suffering come into your suffering here, and I will take their suffering, like by suffering, by this suffering, may I take away all the suffering. You just kind of make the wish. You really can't, really, just by wishing that, it's not like real suffering will come, But what happens is your heart opens. You have then you have this compassion, and then your suffering is more manageable. And when you make the wish that you can take other suffering, like a mother, for example, wishes to take the child's suffering, like that. When you wish to take others' suffering away from them, and you will take it for them on their behalf, then some kind of incredible strength is there, and also there is a transformation in your heart, and this self-grasping becomes much less. The self-grasping is the source of all of our suffering, and it becomes much less. 통증이 있을 때는 이제 남의 통증, 남의 고통, 이게 얼마나 많을까요? 지금 나처럼 이렇게 몸이 아픈 사람 얼마나 많을까요? 그 사람, 나도 이 몸이 아픈 걸 안 좋아하는데 그들도 마찬가지겠다. 그들도 나도 이런 고통에서 벗어났으면 좋겠다. 그런 마음을 갖는 게 이제 자비심이에요. 자비심이 있는 순간 힘도 있고 평화도 있어요. 그래서 이제 그리고 마지막 단계는 그들의 고통이, 이런 모든 지금 고통받고 있는 모든 존재들의 고통이 내가 이제 대신에 받을 수 있으면 좋겠다. 내가 이 고통을 겪음으로 이 고통을 내가 그들의 고통을 대신할 수 있으면 좋겠다. 약간 내가 받겠다, 이런 마음을 가지는 거예요. 그래서 남의 고통을 자기가 그 대신에 받고 싶은 마음을 한순간만 가질 수 있다면 이 마음이 굉장히 열리고 변하고 또 편안하고 또 마음에 힘이 생겨요. 이제 이게 자비심이 주는 그런 힘과 그런 평화입니다. 그래서 그게 이제 그런 식으로 이제 그러면 이 통증이 유용한 통증이 되는 거예요. 그날에. 그리고 이 통증으로 이제 자비심을 연습할 수가 있었고, 이런 식으로 이제 자비심은 이제 행복의 가장 중요한 조건이라고 하거든요. 가장 핵심적인 조건이 이제 자비심이라고 해요. And this suffering is something that is meaningful, because through this suffering, I have aroused compassion, and compassion is the most important condition for happiness. So, so because of this suffering, I was able to arouse compassion. So, so this day, this suffering becomes very meaningful and very useful. So, and then second method is the wisdom method. Wisdom. So using this pain to transform it into wisdom. 두 번째 방법은 이 통증을 지혜로 만드는 거. 그게 뭐냐면 이제 통증이 있을 때 마음이 통증으로 저절로 가잖아요. 그렇잖아요? 이렇게 마음이 이렇게 통증이 계속 마음으로, 그러니까 집중이 잘 돼요. 어떻게 보면. 그러니까 근데 이 통증을 저항하거나 없기를 바라면 이 통증이 더 견딜 수가 없어요. 더 견디기 어려워요. 그렇지만 이 통증을 저항하지 않고 그냥 이 통증으로 그 알아차림을 연습할 수 있어요. 그러니까 우리가 이제 명상을 배웠을 때 느껴지면 알아차림이 있잖아요. 느껴지면 보이면 알아차림이 있고 들리면 알아차림이 있고 느껴지면 알아차림이 있는 것처럼, 그럼 그 느낌으로 인하여 알아차림을 연습할 수 있다는 거예요. 이렇게. 그리고 알아차림을 연습해서 그 통증을 알아차린다는 것은 그 통증을 느낀다는 거거든요. 그러니까 통증을 느끼면 그 통증의 본질을 알게 되는 거예요. 그러니까 통증이 유동적이고 통증이 영원하지 않고 통증은 통증으로서는 통증이 좋지도 나쁘지도 않는 그런 공한 본질을 바로 알아차리기는 어렵지만 그래도 이 통증이 공하다는 것은 무슨 말이냐면 통증이 그냥 느낌이에요. 그러니까 통증이 좋지도 나쁘지도 않아요. 그러니까 예를 들면 마사지 받을 때 아프잖아요. 그렇지만 뭐라고 해요? 시원하다고 하잖아요. 그러니까 그 아픔 자체가, 근데 그 아픔을 저항하면 굉장히 견디기 어렵고 그렇거든요. 그러니까 이 그냥 느낌이라는 거예요. 그래서 알아차린다는 것은 그 통증을 허용하는 것이에요. 통증을 저항하지 않고 통증에게 이렇게 공간을 주는 거예요. 그러면 통증에 무상하고 그런 실체가 없다는 것은 통증으로 좋고 나쁜 게 아니라는 거예요. 뭘 만들지 않으면 통증이 그냥 느낌뿐이라는 거예요. 그런 것을 알게 되는 거예요. 그게 지혜. So the second way is to transform the pain into wisdom. And the way you do that is by awareness. And what is awareness? Awareness is to feel the feeling, that is the awareness. For example, when you are aware of the flower, you see the flower, right? You see the flower, you are aware of it. You feel the feeling, that is awareness. That is the mindfulness. That's meditation. So you feel the pain, and you just allow the pain. Feeling the pain and allowing the pain is kind of the same thing. So when you feel the pain, the pain is allowed. What makes the pain really insufferable is the resistance, or trying to get rid of the pain. That is what makes the pain really insufferable. But if you just allow the pain, if you just kind of look into the pain or feel into the pain, then the pain itself is not good or bad, because it's just a feeling. For example, when you get a massage, it's painful sometimes, right? But then you don't resist the pain in that case, and it's very, very kind of feels good kind of pain, right? In that case. So pain is not necessarily bad. By nature, pain is not bad or good, actually. The essence of pain, essentially pain is not good or bad. It's just a feeling. So when you become aware of the pain, then you start to understand the essential nature of the pain, which is we call emptiness, and that is wisdom. Or we see that pain is moving, pain is in a state of flux, pain is not like solid as we think it is, and pain is not permanent. So these kind of things, by feeling the pain, by being aware of the pain, and then we gain insight into the nature of the pain, and that's how we transform the pain into wisdom. So I've done this practice myself with my own pain, and it's very, very helpful. So these two methods, you can transform pain into wisdom and compassion. Do you understand these methods? Okay, it's very useful. So every time you have pain or any kind of physical discomfort, please try this method. First you think, oh, I have physical discomfort or I have some pain. This is what a great opportunity. You have to see it as that. Like you have to see it. Now this is a good opportunity to practice. So now, whatever there's pain, you can do either the compassion practice. You can do both. I like the wisdom practice. Just in the way you do it, you just feel the pain in the body. You feel it. And you feel it as deeply as possible, or as, as purely as possible. You feel the pain as purely as possible. You just feel it. You allow it. You feel the pain, and then you start to understand the nature of the pain, which is impermanent, which is moving. It has no substance, and is not good or bad. And later, when your practice progresses, then you can realize the pain. Like the pain is just the mind. It's everything is actually just mind. Everything is just consciousness. There's no actual reality outside of consciousness. Everything we see, hear, and feel, it's all just our consciousness. And consciousness is empty. It has no substance. So that is the kind of the ultimate practice. And that is the best practice. We call it the emptiness practice. And this is the kind of what I try to practice when there's pain or whatever. But when the pain is extreme, then compassion, wisdom has to wait a little bit because very difficult to practice when you have extreme pain. When you have extreme pain, you should take painkillers, or if necessarily. 아픔이 있을 때, 통증이 있을 때, 이 두 가지 방법을 한번 사용해 보시기를 바랍니다. 정말 저는 많이 사용해 봤는데 특히 지혜 방법을 되게 좋아하거든요. 그래서 저는 항상 통증이 있을 때 내가 이 통증의 공한 본질을 살필 수 있는 기회가 왔구나. 한번 살펴보자. 이런 마음으로 통증에 대한 저항이 없고 이렇게 그럼 이제 통증을 좀 살필 수 있어요. 그리고 이런 식으로 해서 모든 안 좋은 상황을 지혜와 자비로 이렇게 탈바꿈할 수 있어요.